Hi guys, welcome to Pointy Not Sharp. Today we're taking a look at the Swedish model of 1965 bayonet. Now this is pretty much an exact copy of the German G3 bayonet, and it's made to fit the 7.62mm NATO AK4 rifle, or the Automat Carbine 4, which is essentially just a G3 A3 rifle, slightly tweaked for Swedish service and produced in Sweden. And after that rifle went out of service, they were also adapted. Well, the bayonet wasn't adapted, but there was a bracket made to fit these to the AK5 rifle, which was just a Swedish version of the 5.56 FNC rifle. Now, these bayonets themselves were made by BAHCO and Eickhorn. Eickhorn being in Germany, BAHCO is a Swedish company, I believe, so locally made. And they were made between 1965 and 1985. Well, slightly different years of manufacture for different manufacturers. So BAHCO made them from 65 all the way through to 85, where the Eickhorn only started production in about 75, I think it was, and kept going for 10 years before they stopped in 1985 as well. Now, a bit of history about these bayonets and the rifles that they go with. So in the late 1950s and early 1960s, Sweden was looking to replace their Ljungman their Ljungman rifles and their model of 1945 submachine guns that they had in service, as well as all of their old Mauser rifles as well, which they were still kicking around with. If you're not familiar with the Ljungman, I am absolutely terrified of that rifle. It's a finger trap. Every time I use it, I generally touch one about every 6 months, and I've forgotten how to use it, and it's got a really... Think of like a snapping turtle. Sticking your thumb into a snapping turtle. That's what the Ljungman reminds me of. Anyway, that's not what this video's about. Now, they started trials to replace those two, well, all those weapons they had in service. And the weapons in the trial, they had the Gram 63, which was like an updated Ljungman. They had the US M14. They had the Swiss SIG 510, which is their export version in 7.62 NATO. The German G3, of course, and the FN-FAL. And in the end, the FN-FAL and G3 were the only ones that passed their trials, and they went with the G3 because it was cheaper to produce. And I believe that was in 1964 was when they made the final decision. So 1965 is the year that it was given its official name, the model 1965. So because G3 won, we of course got the G3 bayonet to go with it. Now, for the first 1.5 or 2 years of production, they didn't make these black plastic scabbards, as you can see here. They had Durafol, which this is a Danish M62 fighting knife bayonet thingy. So they used Durafol, which is like a laminated wood grainy looking thing. And that lasted not very long at all, and then they moved to the black plastic like we have here. And in 1985, the bayonet was, the rifle itself was phased out and replaced by the AK5. The AK5 did not have a bayonet lug. However, for ceremonial purposes, they did make a mounting bracket to fix bayonets to the AK5. You might have noticed this one having a white leather frog is a ceremonial variant. So this one very likely would have been paired with an AK5 after 1985. Now we might jump into the construction of the bayonet. If you've seen G3 bayonets before, it's virtually identical. There is one or two small minor differences, but it's a G3 bayonet essentially. So to start with, we have our M3 fighting knife style of blade. No surprises there at all. Very, very popular blade design, and since the Second World War when it was introduced, it's been used on hundreds of different bayonets and fighting knives. Probably still used today. Well, it is still used today, actually. I know that for a fact. Then we have our crossguard. Now, the crossguard is where it changes a little bit from other G3s. So I have a German commercial G3 here, and you can see it has this extra little bracket on top of that divot there. And my understanding is that there is a locking mechanism within the scabbard that locks into that. It's on both sides of the blade, so you can put it in either way and the locking mechanism will still work. Then we have our black plastic grip with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 serrations in it, as well as the vertical serrations either side. It's nice and big and thick and chunky, easy to get a good grip of. I've never particularly liked the look of them. They don't look like they make very ergonomic tools, but when you hold it, not bad. Then moving down, we've got our pommel, classic G3 pommel. Got a very small push button, and that just drops our catch just here. And that's really it in terms of the bayonet. There's not too much else to discuss. The frog itself, just got a hard black glossy frog with a drainage hole down the bottom. And this is our locking mechanism on the back. So I've seen early versions of this bayonet that have the locking mechanism on the front as well. But I don't know if they were phased out completely, if they had them both on the front and the back, if they were just swapped. But this one has it on the back, and I've seen a couple really early ones with them on the front. So I'll leave that to your imagination. I don't really know. As I said, the bayonet slides in either direction and just clips out by itself, just held under spring tension. And then we have our white leather frog here for ceremonial use. So in terms of ceremonial use, you come across two different frogs. You get this one here, and then you get one that also has a clip-on hilt strap. I don't have an example of that to show you, unfortunately, but you can use your imagination. If you're unfamiliar with hilt straps, they're just little things like this, little straps that clip around the handle or hilt of the bayonet and hold it in place. So this is the open sort. Now those are the ceremonial variants of this bayonet, which are still used today on the AK5. The field variant had a green frog similar to this one here, without these back there, just a belt loop like that. So try to imagine it without these clips. And again, they came with hilt straps as well, like that. So that's the construction of the bayonet. There's not too much to say. It doesn't look like they were finished at all. This one is completely in the white. I've seen other examples that are also in the white, but haven't seen any blued or parkerized or anything like that. Actually, I should probably point out, it looks like I've got a parkerized finish on the crossguard here, although it's pretty poorly finished. And we also have this little flash guard just here underneath the muzzle ring. Now, finally, we'll jump into markings. So first off, these will usually be serial numbered on, I believe it's the left ricasso. Yeah, I can't really remember. Left or right ricasso, one of them. The reason I'm a little unsure is that this one is completely unmarked on the ricassos because it's a ceremonial, so I don't know who manufactured it. But often you'll find a serial number on the ricasso, and you won't find one on the scabbard. Then next to the serial number, you'll have a manufacturer's mark. And as I said, they'll either be BAHCO or that'll be Eickhorn. So BAHCO will have two squares with the word BAHCO in the middle, and that will be just out from the serial number. And Eickhorn will just have the little Eickhorn squirrel. And finally, the only other marking you'll come across on these is a Swedish property mark. And these are really, really cool. So we've got our 3 crowns just there on the flash guard. I'll put a photo up so you can see. And I love the look of that. Like, I know you find that on a lot of the Swedish gear, but that just reminds me of the grip. And like growing up, I was an absolute nut for fighters, and always seeing those on the side of the grip, and it's very, very cool. And to find them on a bayonet, I absolutely love it. But that's all I really have to say about this bayonet. It's just another G3 clone. It's a particularly nice one. I like it quite a lot. It's probably one of my favourites. Probably my second favourite of the G3s. My favourite probably being the Norwegian. I still haven't got my hands on one of those, but hopefully it'll come my way shortly. Anyway, guys, if you made it this far, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe because I've got a lot more content coming, including a couple more G3 bayonets and a whole lot more Swedish bayonets. So plenty of content to enjoy. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.